RG3 called what Angel Reese did hate. He said you could see the hate on her face for Caitlin Clark. I'm not really sure when we moved in to being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate because I think he also understands the hate of self. And so now though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story.
Right.
The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom.
That's ESPN's Ryan Clark, and he went nuclear.
Just because Angel Reese is a Black woman doesn't mean that a Black man or a Black woman who happens to be an analyst can't give their opinion on her game. Just because Angel Reese is a Black woman doesn't mean that a Black man or a Black woman cannot critique her game. To be quite frank, a Black man or a Black woman can critique anybody's game just the same as a white man or a white woman can critique anybody's game. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, regardless of the color of skin that somebody is. And if you don't like that opinion, that's fine. But it shouldn't resort to personal attacks. I just believe we got to be better in this space, man. Debate the game. That's fine. Debate the game.
On this guy, former NFL player and ex-ESPN analyst Robert Griffin III.
Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much. And so now if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what Black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping.
Clark's rebuttal was to RG3's upload on his YouTube channel, Out of Pocket with RG3, and also this. After watching Caitlin Clark's flagrant foul on Angel Reese and the aftermath, there is no way Angel Reese can continue the lie that she doesn't dislike Caitlin Clark, wrote Griffin from his official Twitter account. I know what hatred looks like. Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. Not some basketball rivalry hate either. Hate. And he would be checked by many, and I mean many in sports media, including longtime writer Chuck Modiano. Not merely a bad take, given who you are, it's journalistic malpractice, even if just a tweet. If you missed last year, you know there is a sizable racist, delusional Caitlin mob that has produced endless hate and death threats to Angel Reese. And you are pouring gasoline on all that, feeding a monster. Why don't you see how far this goes beyond hoops? Reese is a vehicle and receptacle for mobs of white fans to dump their hatred for Black women onto. That's not an opinion, and you are putting her in greater harm's way. Clark would continue on his show, The Pivot Podcast, as it pertains to RG3.
When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. And he always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin, as if the color of her skin is what makes her special, as if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. I've met the lady, I've had a conversation with her. Right. I think she's more than that. But it also leads to what Black women deal with a lot from Black men who have chose to date or marry outside of their race. They always feel like they have to go the extra mile to prop up the woman that they're married or the woman that they're with over Black women by denigrating Black women. I feel like we should have an opportunity to move past that and understand that Angel Reese can be great in her own right, as Caitlin Clark is as well. Caitlin Clark is a likable and lovable superstar. She pays homage to the stars of the past. She pays homage to the Black women that have come before her, and now she is carrying the mantle forward. So there's no need to pin those two against each other and paint them based on stereotypical tropes.
On that milk point, by the way, Clark is not lying. Take a look. Because even if one did not work with Griffin in Bristol, Connecticut, one glance at his Twitter would verify Ryan Clark's claims. Here he is, online, referring to his wife as milk. It is a direct reference to her skin color, let's be clear. Now, RG3 continues to state, hey, back off, man. Don't make it personal, man. I was giving a sports opinion. But what he does not comprehend appears to show his severe blind spot as an analyst. Griffin would give a very lengthy response, but many aren't buying it, including Kev, who wrote, RG3 can save it. His critique about Angel Reese was not simply a sports take. It had undertones in it that led to what Ryan Clark ultimately said. You can't use having a wife of a different race for content and jokes and then get mad when someone calls it out. After his tweet and video, Ryan Clark would respond via Twitter once more. Bro, you know what it is with me and you. I saved you the entire season on Monday Night Football. I urged people to let you be you. No matter how corny, how bad a teammate you were, I had your back. What did you do? Invite someone on your show you know I don't fool with to ask questions about me, and then hit me weeks later to tell me you're going to challenge one of my takes. You're a phony, bro. One of the worst teammates I ever had, both on the field and in TV. You got to do what you got to do. I didn't attack your wife. I spoke on what you do on social media and television. Like I said, I met your wife, and she seemed like a lovely lady that was worth more than the color of her skin. You be good, bro. Where I think RG3 severely misses the mark, and this has happened many times in his sports media career, is going off of one thing that we see in one point in time and making judgments without really trying to get into the history of it. He attempted to do it after firing off that tweet because he caught a bunch of flack in a video that also really missed the mark. And he also did this with Jackie Robinson. Not only was it disappointing, but it was dumbfounding what we saw with his Jackie Robinson take, if you could even call it that. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, On Demand is right there at your disposal. I actually liked what Jameel Hill said about RG3 and how it just lacked a lot of substance. It just really did. However you feel about Ryan Clark and what he said, that's on you. What I can say personally is that there was just something about RG3 that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because I think he sees this as, let's utilize social media to perform trolling or clickbait or gotchas or asking questions in ways that are of a worldwide wob angle on basketball, saying, hey, this is a safe space. He's basically stealing. And then, in my view, putting out takes that totally fall short on purpose to have his name trend, and then create content using a bad take he had in order to double and triple down, because we are curious, as humans always are, to see if this man has learned from his wrongs. And he won't, and he doesn't. He will not. So honestly, I think it's a byproduct of where we are in media that some of the dumbest people will say, and I'm not calling RG3 dumb, I'm saying some of the dumbest people will say some of the dumbest things intentionally to have their name trend on Twitter, whatever social media platform, TikTok, etc. And then it's a very Charlie Kirk model where they know they're in the wrong, but they will continue to hammer home that point because it is the Floyd Mayweather model as well. I know I'm throwing out a lot of models here, but just follow me. Where Mayweather will say anything in order to get people to watch his fight. Those who appreciate boxing will do it, and those that want to see him lose and get knocked out, which he never did, on both fronts, will also want to watch as well. And this is toxic. It is bad. As someone who has taken journalism classes and have tried to uphold a moral standard in the coverage that we bring, it reeks. It sucks. And it is a great example, a polarizing example of how media is broken and how we got here today.
Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYT Sports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.